This is the Daily Roundup here on the EAC Cambodia channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Andrew Barnes-Roberts. Making headlines tonight. The WHO warns Cambodians that preventative measures must be adhered to, saying vaccines are not a silver bullet against COVID-19. Pol Pot's last surviving henchman prepares to launch his appeal against his life sentence for his part in the Khmer Rouge. And a bad day at the office for Indian rocket scientists as the country's space program is hit by a major setback. The World Health Organization in Cambodia says vaccines alone cannot end the community outbreak and that they are not a silver bullet against the pandemic. Dr. Lee Ailan says even those who are fully vaccinated must adhere to government's preventative measures to curb the further spread of the virus in the kingdom. EAC News reporter Reo Soko has the day's top story.
The U.S. Center for Disease Control calls preventative measures non-pharmaceutical interventions. The WHO says these are also known as community mitigation strategies, and they are among the best ways of controlling the pandemic. As we know, these include staying at home when not feeling well, covering your mouth and nose when sneezing and coughing, maintaining a safe social distance, washing your hands often, and wearing a face mask. The WHO says vaccine optimism can be dangerous. It says those who are fully vaccinated should dismiss the idea that they can't be infected or transmit the virus. WHO Country Representative Dr. Lee Ailan says she deeply appreciates the vaccination efforts of the royal government and Cambodians' courage for staying strong in their fight against COVID-19. She remains positive that with individual and collective actions, people will win the fight against the pandemic, although the WHO says it is far from over. While there are signals of reduced transmission and death in some provinces, Dr. Ailan says the risk of a surge in COVID-19 due to the Delta variant is very high, especially if preventative measures are relaxed too soon and too quick. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
Banteay Meanchey has reopened its border with Thailand, but only to facilitate the return of 463 migrant workers. They'd faced the prospect of a further week camping along the border, with all the kingdom's other border crossings with Thailand closed until next Friday. The Buang Trakun border crossing was reopened on Friday morning in cooperation with Thai authorities. A total of 463 Cambodian migrant workers were able to cross back into the kingdom. They've been taken to the local quarantine center after undergoing rapid tests for COVID-19. There, they'll spend the next 21 days, not 14, after the Ministry of Health imposed a mandatory 21-day quarantine for all migrant workers returning from Thailand. The announcement was made on Friday morning following the discovery of an 8-year-old boy in Sihanoukville who tested positive for the Delta variant a full 20 days after crossing the border. Minister of Health Dr. Mambun Heng says the 21-day quarantine will be for returning migrant workers as well as anyone who had direct or indirect contact with them. COVID-19 patients with the Delta variant will now also be tested 4 times. There'll be 3 rapid tests at regular intervals, followed by a full blood test on the final day of their quarantine. An hour after Banteay Meanchey reopened its borders with Thailand, allowing stranded migrant workers to cross back home, more than 60 people tested positive for COVID-19. This was confirmed by Provincial Governor Umri Trai. He says 3 of the province's border crossings have recorded around 500 migrant workers entering from Thailand after 2 weeks of being stranded due to the border closure. The border crossings in Banteay Meanchey that reopened on Friday morning are Buang Trakun, Malai, and Obai Chuan. Governor Retrai is expecting that more migrant workers will cross, and there's a large possibility that more COVID-19 cases will be discovered. The reopening of the borders was made possible in Banteay Meanchey through coordination with provincial authorities in Thailand. Governor Retrai has added that provincial authorities, armed forces, and health officials have organized rapid testing on the Cambodian workers before they were sent to quarantine or treatment facilities. During the meeting of leaders between Banteay Meanchey and Thailand's Sa Kaeo province, they also discussed the vaccination of Cambodian traders at Rong Klu Market in Thailand's Aranyaprathet district. The leaders of the two provinces have agreed to conduct vaccinations at the Poipet International Gate Bridge for around 10,000 vendors, although no date has yet been set. The Phnom Penh Capital Administration has reiterated that there will be harsh penalties for COVID-19 patients who violate home treatment protocols. The announcement follows reports that some patients are doing self-tests at home, and when tests turn positive, they don't report the case. Instead, they're turning to traditional remedies and are not self-isolating, which the capital says is increasing the risk of community outbreaks. As of Wednesday, the Phnom Penh Capital Administration has recorded 4,241 COVID-19 patients authorized for home treatment. 1,257 of them have since been cured, while 2,984 are still undergoing treatment. The administration has again warned that home treatment can be allowed only for those approved by the capital's health authorities who are either asymptomatic or showing only mild symptoms. Anyone testing positive for the Delta variant is not allowed to treat themselves at home. The capital has also ordered home patients to call the 1222 hotline if they develop more severe symptoms. Violators face possible imprisonment. Residences with COVID-19 patients being treated at home are being labeled by the capital administration. Anyone who discovers their neighbors doing home treatment without the proper authorization are being encouraged to report them. Cambodia has again reported its lowest number of daily COVID-19 cases in almost 3 months. On Friday, it recorded 423 new cases, exactly the same number as Thursday. That's the lowest that number has been since the 20th of May, when 415 cases were reported. The number of imported cases also continues to drop sharply. On Friday, it was just 67. The daily death toll is also the same as Thursday at 20. There were 541 patients discharged overnight, though, which means recoveries have been outpacing new cases for a full 2 weeks. The kingdom's total COVID-19 case count is now at 84,262. The death toll stands at 1,654. The number of patients treated successfully has topped 78,972. The last surviving Khmer Rouge leader, Khieu Samphan, will launch his appeal on Monday against his life sentence. The appeal will be heard by the Supreme Court Chamber of the Extraordinary Chambers. Samphan is a former president of the Khmer Rouge who was found guilty of genocide and various crimes against humanity in 2014 and in 2018. He has expressed regret for his role in the Khmer Rouge, but has maintained that he was only a figurehead and claims he knew nothing about the atrocities that were being committed. EAC News reporter Reo Soko has the story.
More than 2 million people were killed during the 1975-1979 rule of Pol Pot's ultra-communist Khmer Rouge. People died from torture, execution, disease, and starvation. Khieu Samphan was at the very top of the regime and was referred to as Pol Pot's right-hand man. In 1998, he returned to Cambodia along with Nuon Chea, known as Brother Number 2, under a no-arrest guarantee. But a decade later, in 2007, the pair were arrested and charged under the United Nations-backed War Crimes Tribunal. In August 2014, alongside Nuon Chea, Samphan was sentenced to life in prison for crimes against humanity, murder, persecution on political grounds, and other inhumane acts over the forced evacuation of the capital in 1975. In November 2018, both men were found guilty of genocide against the Cham Muslim minority and Vietnamese people in a second trial, and again sentenced to life in prison. Nuon Chea died in 2019, leaving Khieu Samphan the sole surviving Khmer Rouge leader to challenge the conviction, a challenge that will begin on Monday. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
Now for a look at news around the world making headlines this Friday, the 13th of August. 6 people, including a child, have been killed in a rare mass shooting in the UK. Police were called to the scene in the coastal city of Plymouth on Thursday night. The British Home Secretary described the incident as shocking. 5 people, including the suspect, died from gunshot wounds at the scene. The 6th person died a short time later in hospital. Police described the shooting as a serious firearms incident and said the incident was not related to terrorism. The United Kingdom has one of the lowest gun homicide rates in the world. This was its first mass shooting in 11 years. The Taliban is closing in on the Afghan capital of Kabul. It has launched a lightning-fast offensive in recent weeks following the withdrawal of US troops. It has now captured the city of Ghazni, the 9th provincial capital it has seized this week. It reportedly has control of about 2/3 of the country. Security analysts say Kabul could be surrounded within the month and fall within 90 days. All gateways into the capital are choked with civilians fleeing violence elsewhere. The Taliban has already captured districts bordering Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Iran, Pakistan, and China, heightening regional security concerns. The Taliban is fighting the US-backed government and wants to impose a strict interpretation of Islamic law.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And they got the countdown right, and the first 2 booster stages went according to plan. But as the old saying goes, what goes up must come down. This Indian rocket, which was carrying a powerful Earth observation satellite, failed to fire fully on Thursday and plunged back to Earth. The Indian Space Research Organization described it as a major setback for the country's space program. It is not known when the launch will be attempted again. After the break, a look at your sports news, and a major doping scandal hits Team GB. EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, 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 wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. EART's Cambodia's audience is growing. Our YouTube channel now has 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube, given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates EART's Cambodia's hard work and incredible achievement. She says not only has EART's Cambodia brought a unique voice and style to the world, but has also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers, and we'd really like that Gold Creator Award. So if you're not already a subscriber, head to www.youtube.com/eartscambodia. Subscribers get all the latest breaking news and updates from Cambodia in English. We'll see you there. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of eArts Cambodia's platforms and channels: YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eartscambodia.com. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear. Fresh from their hero's return to London this week, Team GB has been hit by a doping scandal. The Athletics Integrity Unit has provisionally suspended Britain's Olympic 4x100-metre relay silver medalist Chinju Ujah. He joins 3 other track and field athletes who were suspended during the Olympic Games themselves. Ujah, seen here on the left in this photograph, has been notified by the International World Athletics Federation about the finding. The AIU said in a statement that it had been alerted by the Doping Control Laboratory in Tokyo after the Games that Ujah had returned what's known as an adverse analytical finding from a test carried out during the Olympics. It listed the prohibited substances as Osterine and S23. Both are classified by the World Anti-Doping Organization as selective androgen receptor modulators, similar to anabolic steroids. If the tests are confirmed, Ujah's relay teammates, Zarnell Hughes, Richard Kilty, and Nathaniel Mitchell-Blake's medals will also be at risk. No doping drama for the world of swimming's most decorated woman, Katie Ledecky. She's on top of the world, well, almost. She took a victory lap on Thursday at the top of New York's Empire State Building. Proudly on display were her 2 gold and 2 silver medals from the Tokyo Olympics. Ledecky now has won 15 world titles and 7 Olympic golds. She's beaten the record for the most women's individual Olympic swimming titles that was held for a quarter of a century by Hungary's Kristina Egezsegi. The American dominated the 800 meters freestyle final in Tokyo last Saturday to win gold comfortably. She led from the start and opened up a full body length after 500 meters. She finished in 8 minutes and 12.57 seconds. Ledecky now focuses on preparations for the World Championships, as well as qualifying for Paris 2024, which shouldn't be too much of a stretch. 7 years after his departure for Inter Milan, striker Romelu Lukaku is back at Chelsea. He signed a new 5-year deal with the club, reportedly worth a club record of almost $135 million. The Belgium international returns to Stamford Bridge after 2 successful seasons in Italy. He scored 24 league goals as Inter Milan clinched their first Serie A title in 11 years. Before leaving for Italy, Lukaku made 15 appearances for the Blues over 2 seasons, but failed to score a single goal. He was then loaned to West Bromwich Albion in 2012 before being sold to Everton in 2014. A couple of years later, he moved to Manchester United. But it was Milan where he flourished. He dropped weight and gained form as he scored 64 goals in 95 games and quickly became one of the most bankable names in European football. He'll no doubt be hoping he does better at Chelsea this second time around. The weekend is here. Let's see what the weather's up to. And finally, you might have once swiped right, and you've probably swiped left a few times. But a German animal shelter is encouraging people in Munich to start swiping right to adopt a pet. Yep, the Munich Animal Shelter has turned the dating app Tinder in a new approach to find homes for abandoned pets. When the lockdowns hit Europe last year, the demand for pet adoptions went through the roof. Sadly, as people now start returning to work and are spending less time at home, there's been a sharp rise in the number of unwanted pets being taken to shelters. The shelter is starting with 15 pets, of which professional photographs have been taken. The Munich Animal Welfare Association says several people have already swiped right on Tinder to set up their first date. They say the response has been amazing. With the number of pets available for adoption in Cambodia, this might be something animal shelters here could start to think about. Thanks for watching the Daily Roundup here on the EARTS Cambodia channel. More breaking news and updates on our website. Head to www.e-artscambodia.com. You can also search for EAC News on Telegram, as well as at your favorite app store. More from the EAC News team in the weekly Roundup tomorrow night at 8. I will see you then.